Hello everyone, welcome to this new video where we are going to go through maximum product of two elements in an array. So basically what we have here is that we have an array of elements, and then we are supposed to find out two indexes in the array which will maximize this value. This value is actually nums of the value of the element minus 1 times the value of the other one minus 1. So let us take some example. If you have this as input, what will be the output? The maximum values here will be 4 minus 1 times 5 minus 1. Why? Because there is no other couple in this array which is going to give you a value greater than 4 minus 1 times 5 minus 1. So given that, how are you going to solve it? This is one example. So one thing I'll ask you to keep in mind is that don't be distracted by the minus 1. Basically what you need to have here is the two maximum element of the array, because if you have the two maximum element of the array, the num minus 1 are also the 2 minus 1 maximum. Yeah, let us say it that way. So given that, the problem here can be framed into how to find the two maximum element of an array. And to do so, here is what we are going to use as approach, right? So we are going to let us take this example to kind of state our approach. We are going to say, okay, the two first elements are actually our two maximum element. So we are going to put this as second, and then we are going to put this as our first. So our biggest element. Now for each of the element, we are going to do something like, okay, we are going to check, are you actually greater than the first element? If you're not greater than the first element, now we check, are you greater than the second element? If you are greater than the second element, what we are going to do is that we are going to erase this as our second, and then we are going to make this our second. That's what we are going to do. Now let us check this. Is this one actually greater than our first? No. Is this one, if it's not greater than our first, let us check, are you actually greater than our second? Yes, you are greater than our second, so we just erase this, and then we make this our second. So we have seen a situation where you are not greater than the first, but you are greater than the second, and in that case we just erase our second and give you that value. Now let us see this one. This one is greater than our first. When you are greater than our first, what do we do? So let me take another color to express this situation. If you are greater than our first, what we are going to do is that you are going to replace our first. So our first is going to go this way. You are going to be our first, and then our second is going to, this one is not going to be our second anymore. This doesn't actually explain it well because they have the same value. But when you actually greater than the first, what is happening is that you are taking the first, and then the second is going to be here. When you're greater than the first, what will happen is that the first will take that value, and the second is going to take the previous first. So and then when you're just, let's say this one not is going to be happen because you're actually less than the first and less than the second. So in summary, we have two situations. If you are greater than the first, then the first is going to take the value, and the previous first is going to go to the second. And then if you are greater than the second, then you're just going to change the value of the second. So how do we implement that? We are going to have let us create our variable. We are going to have let's say first equal to, what is the value of the first? The first is actually the maximum of the nums, the first element and the second element. Yeah, so this is actually the first element, and the second element is going to be just the minimum. So since I want to declare both of them here, I just need to make it this way, and then this is the minimum. So now my first, I have my first and my second. I need to loop now, so don't forget to loop now from number 2 for each of the element. Now what am I going to do? The first thing I was saying, if the element is actually greater than the first, Then what we're going to do is that we are going to perform the operation we're saying. The second is going to take the first, and then the first is going to take the number. And then else, if now the nums is actually greater than the second, so what we're going to do is that the second is just going to take the nums. So at the end of this, the first and the second are going to point to the two biggest elements of the array. So what we should do here is just to return the first minus 1 time the second minus 1. So let us run this and see what it gives. We have an error somewhere. Second, I made something here. So we have everything green. Let us submit. Nice. So this is a really straightforward approach implementation. The idea is just to find out what is the biggest and what is the second biggest, and at the end of the day just return the product of the two element minus 1. So I hope you do enjoy it. Don't hesitate to like, share, subscribe. See you tomorrow with new video. Ciao.